Welcome, fight fans. Today we're going to discuss the three bouts brought to us by Showtime Championship Boxing. The WBA featherweight title bout between Brian DeGracia and Eduardo Ramirez, the heavyweight showdown between Luis Ortiz and Christian Hammer, and the super welterweight dust-up between Erislandy Lara and Brian Castaño. We're also going to give you our take on some recent headlines. Daniel Jacobs states he has Canelo losing both fights to Triple G. Should Jacobs be worried about biased judging on their May 4th showdown? Deontay Wilder talks about freezing out Tyson Fury if a match with Anthony Joshua presents itself. Does one good snub deserve another? Luis Ortiz says he's ready for Wilder or Joshua, but given the current landscape, a fight with Fury seems more probable in the near future. What might that look like? We also talk about Max Kellerman's recent piece on how the boxing marketplace is hurting the sport. Our own Pablo P makes points to the contrary. I am your host, Harlem Jones. Joining us today, we have Pablo P and the Magic Man. Welcome, fellas.
What up?
So, what do you guys think about this Brian DeGracia bout versus Eduardo Ramirez?
I was trying to look for highlights of that fight and I couldn't find it. I'd rather you guys dive into it. I was trying to find some highlights of that fight and I couldn't find. All I found was still shots.
Man, Magic Man, what'd you think, man? Because I thought that was a good firefight right there. It was a good back and forth.
Man, that was basically in the pocket. Those are the type of fights that I enjoy watching back and forth.
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth between those two. I enjoyed it very much as well. I think that the versatility it was. I mean, first off, I was really amazed that Ramirez took the fight on 1 week's notice, dude. Talk about work ethic and staying ready. That was an example where fighters stay ready.
Well, yeah, he
1 week's
ready.
notice to go into a professional fight, man. And he came in and won by knockout. And he doesn't have a lot of knockouts. He only had 9 KOs out of 20 wins when he came in. Now 10.
And this was a featherweight fight, correct?
Yes, for the WBA title.
I don't know. I mean, it was. I really featherweights is basically these punches are usually like a feather. They basically they can go all 12 rounds hitting each other with pillow pillow punches.
I'll say this. Man. When I was young, growing up, watching boxing with my father, because my father watched any bout that was online. Sunday on Telemundo, he watched it all, and there was a lot of featherweight fights, and there was hardly any knockouts. It was 12 rounds of straight just beating on each other. I mean, they're exciting, but after a while, I was like, you know,
exactly.
let's call it a day.
Exactly.
But I mean, all right. I mean, somewhere somebody's getting knocked out because this kid Brian who came in, actually the kid who did lose, out of a record of 21, he had 20 KOs.
Okay.
Somebody's getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so no, I mean, it was a good fight. It was a good knockout, but I don't know. I mean, in terms of skills, they just, you know what? I'm gonna have to see him again. I basically have to see him again. If he can pull this off again, then he got my attention. That's the way I look at it.
I thought he definitely, yeah, I dig it. I can dig that. I think that I think Ramirez surprised me. I didn't see it. I thought that it took him a long to warm up. He started warming up around the 4th round, and then he started putting on the pressure. And one of the things that I found impressive was his effective counterpunching, whereas The Rock looked a lot more like he was coming out of the amateurs, and he was still very sloppy. He was really strong, very, very, like forceful in his punches, but hitting nothing. Whereas Eduardo, he would time it, take a step back, just enough space, and then come in and bang him out. So, I think he's definitely somebody to watch going forward for that division. I would like to see him develop a little bit more, and he might be fun to watch against some of these other lightweights. Maybe move up to lightweight and maybe give a run for the money for the fighters that are in that division. Pete, what'd you think about the Luis Ortiz versus Christian Hammer heavyweights?
I'd say Luis Ortiz, he looked good for an older man. He's looking. I mean, He's looking for the opportunities, man. He knows his time is running out. He needs to fight as much as he possibly can against the bigger heavyweights. And when I say big, I mean the bigger names to get that bigger payday. Obviously, from the broadcast, they had a little special regarding his daughter, and he's fighting for her basically, to find some sort of cure for some sort of skin disease that she has. But he looked good. He looked like he can give. He had skills, man. Luis Ortiz has skills, but one, I don't know who the hell Justin Hammer. He's just another dude in the heavyweight division.
Christian
Yeah,
Christian Hammer.
yeah, Christian Hammer. Christian Hammer, Justin Hammer. I'm sorry, I remember it from Iron Man. Justin Hammer. Anyway, Luis Ortiz, man, he looked good for an old guy. What can I say?
Yeah. Listen, when I first saw Ortiz step into the ring, to me, he was truly King Kong. Like, he was unstoppable. Like, I wouldn't even notice any blemish or any weakness in his game. But as he's getting older and progressively older, as I see, um, I watch the fight. He still has skills. He still puts it down. But now he has that level of vulnerability, that level, like, he can really get hit with a big punch. Like, sometimes his timing might be a little off, or he might not be able. Like, I can see, like, he's moving a little bit slower than before, which is natural. But it's more considerably, like, I'm on the edge of my seat thinking, man, watch out. Maybe he could, because that he was fighting Hammer, and Hammer could have easily slipped in a good right hand and stunned Ortiz. In fact, in one it was a headbutt. He went down and touched the mat, but it wasn't a knockdown.
Was it a headbutt?
It was a headbutt. But anytime he's off balance, he immediately can go down. I even noticed that in Wilder. Anytime he was off balance, it was hard for him to get. You can see the little, touch of the clock, and now he's calling out other heavyweights straight up because he needs that title shot before he ages out.
He don't care about no damn title shot. He care about that payday. It's time
to
retire.
The title shot will bring the payday. Of course, that's what I'm saying. The title shot is the payday.
Yeah, the payday should be in the.
But I'll tell you this: Hammer came to fight. Hammer came to fight. He took a lot of punches and kept going and went the distance. So he ain't no slouch. He did his thing too.
I think that there was some interesting back and forth that I noticed during that matchup. They were speaking to you guys, what you guys pointed out regarding Ortiz's age showing a bit more and his vulnerability showing a bit more. I think it manifested in him taking these rest rounds, and there were moments during these so-called rest rounds where Christian Hammer would step it up and find the openings and break through. However, after resting, what I also noticed was that Ortiz would step up, and there was literally one moment in the sixth where I saw such negative body communication from Hammer, where he looked like he was walking, like he looked like he was leaving the ring after an exchange where Ortiz was just hammered him down. And for as tough as Hammer looked to be, I believe in that moment, those punches were showing effect. And there were a lot of body shots that Ortiz was breaking the body like a mathematician, and it was working. There was another example is when he was slowing down, Ortiz slowing down in the eighth, giving the illusion of a shot to Hammer, and then he picks it up again in the ninth and kind of rallies back. So moments like that throughout the fight, there was some back and forth where I think some age, was definitely there. I still have the theory that he's 47 years old. I don't care what they say.
Yeah, he's much older. He's much older than 40.
50.
I know
He's like 50.
I'm being conservative. Yeah. I'm giving him 47.
He looked like D-Hop out there.
47 pushing 48. You guys have thrown him off.
Growing up in Washington Heights, I've seen what 50-year-old man look like. He looked like a 50-year-old man that got skills.
That's funny. I've
Exactly.
seen. Yeah, I
Exactly.
know
I know
exactly
what
what you mean
I'm
too.
40. I'm 40. I'm not even 40. I'm 41, I think. I think I'm 41. I stopped counting. That dude is on four. He's been 40 for how long already, man? Come on. Come
He
on.
Yeah,
would
he's not.
say it's not the
He's
age, it's the
beyond that. He's
And he
mileage.
older.
made how do I say? He made it known that he was 40. He threw that number out there 40, 40, 40. That's all you hear was 40. That dude is 47, 48, 49, maybe even 50 years
Yeah,
old.
he's
But
he's into his
he's
50s.
gonna get his big bout this year or early next
I
year.
would hope so. I would hope so. He definitely earned it. He still shows that he's very dangerous. So there's some interesting things
Yeah, he's a
developing.
good
We'll talk
fighter, man.
about that soon on the show, later on in the show. All right. So what did you guys think, Magic Man? What did you guys think of Erislandy Lara versus Brian Castaño, El Boxy
Um,
from
I'm
Argentina?
El Boxy.
El
I'll be real
Boxy.
with you. I also see another person that's aging out. Lara did not. He didn't have it last night. He barely made it in my book. Like it's just I don't know. He started off really good and then kept progressively slowing down as the rounds kept going. And this kid, El Boxy, didn't even have a jab game and would still get in there and rip to the body to Laura to the point that he took away the bicycle. Laura couldn't run around anymore, and he resumed to holding and whatever else he could to just get out of the round. I'll be real with you. Yeah, I don't know. I think he should consider the sport
Hanging it
itself
up.
because he should. Yeah, he just did not look like the Laura that I knew, the one that fought Canelo, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have. Yeah,
I
or
think
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the defeat they had with Hurd. Maybe psychologically got to him.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I mean, and not only Hurd, I mean, he's been in there with in big fights with Canelo, Hurd, and he's come up short.
Short. He always
And I
comes up
think
short.
it has to do, I think, with his. I don't know if it's something to do with that Olympic style fighting where he was looking to outbox all night, and these guys, Canelo, Hurd, and even Castaño, it seems to be there, and he has a dossier of what I need to do in order to succeed of beating Lara. Because he's a great boxer. He's gonna move around. I got to eventually stop him from moving around and get him in front of me and fight. And it seems that tends to happen in each of these fights that he's had. Hurd being the worst of them. Um, we'll see where he wants to do, but I don't see him being that dude on top of that division because I just don't believe he has the the wherewithal in himself to try to really dominate dudes. He's always trying to outbox. And and with this level of competition that he's going up against, a lot of these dudes that he's going up against, I wouldn't say they are necessarily knockout artists, but they're gonna go take your head off. And how
Yeah.
long can Lara last? In 12 rounds, he's bound to get hit with something that'll change the fight. So
Yeah. Yeah. It
I
was
have a
a rough
different
fight.
take on it. I have a slightly different take on it. I don't believe that Lara is a natural super welterweight. I think he would be much more successful at, say, 140, 147. I think he's pushing the boundaries, trying to get in there and bang with these bigger dudes. Consistently, what I've seen every time he's been in there at the super, starting with her. Actually, no, not even starting with Hurd. I actually started noticing it more with Canelo. But from Canelo onward, I started noticing that Lara is considerably smaller than these other super welterweights, and and why is that? I don't think he's a natural super welterweight. I think he should step back, and he would have more success in there with the likes of Keith Thurman, say for example. And there's a lot of action. I think he could go in there right now. He can call a fight with Danny Garcia. I think today. I think he would do that. He could do that and be successful. But with these bigger dudes, these other opponents shouldn't look as big as they are compared to him. I don't think he's a natural I don't think he's a natural at that weight, and that's one of the main reasons why he's having trouble, struggling pulling it off.
You know what? You got a point. You got a point. Maybe if he goes down the division, he might be actually more effective. I see that, but he really got to consider that heavily because right now he's just every fight he looks like he's struggling to survive.
But
Yeah,
you never know if weight can be an issue for him. I don't know if can he go down to 147 or 140. Can he make weight?
that's a good question. It's something. Yeah, that's a
Well,
good question
he
for him.
moves
It's
all
something.
around. It'll help him dance around the ring more effectively. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's my take. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Magic Man. It's my take that he should scale back, and I think he'd be much better off. I don't think he's a natural. I think he's struggling to make to. Not saying that he's struggling to make weight, but he is struggling against these bigger opponents. And why is he so much smaller than they are? When everybody's going in there natural. Hey, something just I'm just using my eyes here, and I'm saying, look, it doesn't add up. Maybe you're not in this division. You need to take a step down in weight, and that's more your fit.
Yeah, but, and let's give it up to Brian Castaños for giving him a good fight. Um, he looked like a young prospect. He certainly did well against Erislandi Lara, which most opponents tend to have a problem with, especially if you're not the likes of Hurd or Canelo, but any other fighter. Certainly, Erislandi Lara is a difficult fight, and he was able to prove something in that ring, and hopefully he gets a little bit more opportunities to showcase his abilities.
I would certainly love to see El Boxy again. Strap him up again because he was yeah. Speaking to P's point, coming in there with only 15 wins, a lot less experience than Lara, and still being able to hold his own, even though he didn't do a lot of the fundamental things that I would have hoped he did done, and he probably would have been even more successful doing so. Like what Magic Man said about the jab,
He needs a jab.
establishing the jab
He needs a
consistently.
jab badly.
But I mean, he has one. He just didn't use it. He didn't feel the need to, quite frankly. And it still worked for him. It's still it was still a close fight. But actually, I shouldn't say it worked for him because it was a draw. But he might have gotten the
Yeah,
win.
that was a hard fight to judge. I wasn't mad at that decision.
No, not at all. But he might have gotten the win had he used that jab. So he still has more to show. But he was definitely fun to watch, and I think that the kids got a lot of potential. So I appreciated that.
And one last point in regards to Eddie Lalilanda, we all noticed that in his previous fights, and especially in this one, where he tends to fade towards the end. Had he won one of those rounds in the last 3 rounds, he would have come away with the win. But El
Yeah,
Boxy
yeah.
maintained the pressure and fought him and forced him to fight, and Castaño got the better of him in those rounds. Had he won just one of them,
He would have won the fight.
it would have made it would have made the difference. But
Yeah,
still, we still would have questioned his ability to compete in this division.
of course,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. I think that the way, yeah, I agree with you, P. The, people, the way the human brain works, remember, we have stronger last impressions. And I think that's a big part of the reason why the judges swayed it more towards a draw is because they remembered at the end Lara stepping off the gas. And
Hmm.
that also speaks to Magic Man's point where, hey, maybe he's gassing out, you know, and he shouldn't be at this level, at this state in the game. Shouldn't be gassing out at the end. You got to be ready to fight 12. You got to be, if a 12-round fighter should be ready for 20.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
what
but
it is.
I think it's more to your point. Maybe this is not the division for him.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's what it
sincerely
boils
believe
down
that.
to. He ain't got a point there, man. The less weight, the better it'll work out for him. If not, he's gonna get knocked out one day, really badly,
Yeah,
really
and we
badly.
don't want to see that. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, somebody would, yeah. But anyway, a good boxer, that shouldn't be happening. All right, so moving on, What do you guys think about this news, man? Let's talk about some of these news headlines that have come out. We heard recently
Well,
that the Canelo Jacobs tour, Jacobs has stated that he has Canelo losing to Triple G in both fights. What do you guys think? P, what do you think about that?
Regardless of what he thought, he's certainly putting it out there so that whoever's judging that fight, whoever's watching that fight, can sort of not lean towards the fact that Daniel Jacobs pointed out that Canelo is being shown favoritism in Las Vegas when he fights. And so he's throwing it out there so that it doesn't seem as blatantly obvious to everyone watching that the judges want Canelo, not necessarily want Canelo to win, but they favor him in some way. Um, and so Daniel Jacobs is playing mind games. He's sort of saying, listen, Canelo gotta earn it. Forget all this. You gotta beat the champ. You can beat the champ with boxing. You can beat the champ. The champ doesn't have to how would I say, the challenger doesn't have to dominate him completely. They have to win the fight. They have to win rounds. And I think that's what he's pointing towards. He doesn't
But they're
want,
both champions. They both have belts.
yes, but it is, he's putting it out there that Canelo is being shown favoritism.
yeah, that's
He's putting
basically
it
what
out
he's
there.
doing.
He's putting, so he's planting the seed so that when he goes out there to perform on that night, that the judges see him doing what he needs to do to win. What Canelo does on his end is what Canelo does. If he outscores and outlands and he does what he needs to do as champion, then there's no doubt you cannot take it away from Canelo. But Daniel Jacobs is, he can box, and he's saying, I can knock him out. I think I can stop him based on what I've seen with Triple G. Um, he's never been in the ring with somebody like him. I mean, come on, he's been in there with the best. Canelo's been in there with the best. Uh, the likes of Daniel Jacobs, a guy that's a little bit taller, a little bit faster, can box, can move around, and has some pop. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. But all that about him being shown favoritism in those fights is just mind game.
Magic Man, what do you think about the article? What did you think about that what he had to say,
Well,
where he was
it
coming
is a
from?
matter. It is a matter of opinion. It is his opinion. It's an opinion that a lot of people share. Um, but at the same time, that's basically a very smart way of telling the audience and the judges, hey, we know what's going on, you know, but if you really want to see some clean boxing, come in and watch this fight. Like he's trying to, it's like you said, it's mind games and it's working.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
but at the same time, I'm a little disappointed. These guys are now, they're very professional. They're very courteous to each other. They respect each other. I want some trash talking.
You want to see
like I said,
them?
You want to see a bad guy and a good guy.
Tu madre, something, throw something out there, And I'm not seeing, and I'm a little bored, I really would like some action, like the Dante Wilder and Fury, or a little screaming match. Even when he had this guy's son, what's this guy's name? Oh man, the Mexican champion's son that the Canelo fought. What is it? What's the
Julio Cesar
Chavez Jr.'s fight? Tell me that press conference wasn't fun. They just trash
Yeah, I
talking.
mean those are. It's not in their personalities, I don't think.
I think
Yeah,
that they're gonna do all the talking in the ring.
yeah,
They're
it's a
gonna
good
do
fight. It's a
all
good
the
fight.
talking,
It's a
and
good
it's
fight.
gonna be real fun to watch. One of the things that
And
and I'm a big
who do you have?
Jacobs.
Who do you have?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm a big Jacobs fan. All right, I'm a big Jacobs fan. Native New Yorker, I'm a big Jacobs fan. But here's my concern. Okay, I like Canelo too. Don't get me wrong. I like Canelo a lot. But here's my concern in leaning towards Jacobs. I've heard rumors, and I believe it, that Canelo has been consistently working on that. He's actually eyeing the light heavyweight division, and he's looking to potentially challenge Kovalev. and he's working his way up. I think this is his way of working his way up the ranks, and gaining weight, and making a statement and validating his skills at a heavier and heavier weight division. So I
He's looking
mean,
to make
with
history.
that, yeah, that too. But with that, I knowing the professional that Canelo is, I know that there's a lot of preparation going into this. So I expect that in the gym he's got light heavyweights, probably the best of the best, sparring with him. Guys that we don't, guys that we don't hear about every day. But I expect that he's definitely putting those skills to the test and probably eating his fair share of punches to know whether or not he can manage that. So I expect that Canelo is preparing, and I don't think that he's taking this lightly.
You got Canelo.
I don't got Canelo, but it's gonna be a hell of a fight. Like I got Jacobs, it's just that I know Canelo is gonna be prepared. That's my take on it. That's who I got. I got Jacobs, but I expect Canelo is gonna be prepared because if he's really eyeing the light heavyweight division, then it makes sense that he would make these moves. This is a great challenge and a great
I
opportunity
would
for
never
him to
place a
move in
bet
that
with you. You
direction.
know that I would never place a bet with you because you just gave me an answer, but at the same time, you gave me a 50-50. So it's like I'm
I
going for
gave you a
Jacobs, but
Maltose
Canelo's control.
mathematics. This
So
is
I'm like,
Maltose
who do you have?
mathematics.
You
This is
have
chess.
okay.
This is not checkers.
All right, Pete. Who do you have? Who do you have, Pete?
Um, I usually don't tend to call fights. I usually just like to go see good fights. I only have the possibilities of what could happen.
Oh my God,
Um,
this guy. What are you? Are you? What
See,
are you, a
that's another
diplomat?
50-50. I would not place bets
Nah,
for
man.
any of you
Look,
guys in
I'll help.
Vegas.
I'll help you,
None of you.
Magic Man. I'll help you. I got Jacobs. I got Jacobs. There.
Thank
I
you.
got Jacobs.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for a straight
Jacobs
answer.
And
I
the
really
other one, no,
appreciate it.
but the odds and the stars
I
and
really appreciate
no,
no,
it.
no,
the
no, no,
Aquarius.
no, 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 no.
You've got Mars
I,
and Jupiter in alignment, and I don't know.
it's just a hard fight to call for me.
It is a hard fight to call.
It's a hard fight to call.
It is a hard. That's what makes them great. That's
Yeah.
what makes the great fight.
Well, that's why it's a good fight to see. I want to see this fight. Either it depends on who does what and who does it better.
Yep.
Especially at this is a different fight. This is not Triple G. Somebody that's gonna probably stand there, toe to toe. Daniel Jacobs is gonna box him, and who knows? He might catch him. He might load up on one shot that he's waiting for, to catch Canelo. Again, Canelo has a good chin, but at some point, good chins crack, and we've seen it time and time again.
Oh yeah, the
That at
best
some
of the
point,
chins will crack. Yep.
yeah, that at some point, you're getting hit. One, there's gonna be one that catches you that you may not be able to take. We'll see what happens on that day. And Canelo, what can I say? Canelo is a beast, especially to the body and putting his punches together. Uh, um, tracking you down. He's great at what he does. But Daniel Jacobs is a different opponent, so a different kind of fighter than the ones that he's faced in the past.
Fair enough. All right, so moving on. What do you guys think about Deontay Wilder talking about potentially shutting out Fury if a fight with Joshua presents itself? Magic Man, what do you think?
Um, I just think that he's eager for that second bout. That's what he had his mind set. And Fury, signing over to ESPN Top Rank it kind of disappointed him because he really wants to avenge this fight. He really wants to, prove he's the best before stepping up to Joshua. He'll take Joshua anytime, but to him it's more personal. He actually wants to complete this chapter, and now he's getting put on hold, and it really pisses him off. So he's saying, you know what? You're going to make it hard for me. I'm going to make it hard for you. There's going to be a time when you're going to need me to set up a fight. And you're going to want this part too. And I'm going to leave it just the way it is. And you'll never know why, when. But I'm going for Joshua. And when I beat Joshua, you're going to be questioning, man, maybe I could have been me or whatever. And you're going to want that second fight. And I'm going to say no. So, I don't blame him. It's a little childish, but at the same time, I understand where he's coming from because it's personal. So at this point, I don't disagree with him. I'm sorry to say, I just don't. Hopefully, he'll change his mind, but
You don't disagree with him in shutting him out if the opportunity presents itself.
exactly, like I won't blame him if he actually does it. It won't be like he was hiding from you. He wasn't hiding. This is to prove a point, and I know the backstory behind it. So I got his back on that. I
You know,
understand.
I gotta agree with yeah, I gotta agree with Magic Man, and yeah, Magic Man, you described it perfectly as childish, but at the same time, is he wrong? Nah, I don't think he is. You know, it's
Because he got screwed.
yeah, it's you
I'm
know,
pretty sure Wilder's people and Tyson Fury's people, they were negotiating. They were in the midst of negotiating the next fight. And then Tyson
yeah,
Fury pulls this. It's like,
laissez-faire. This is business. This is what gets done. This is how it's done. This is what happens. Ah, oh well. I saw something. I saw something on a TV show years ago, Boardwalk Empire. Right? One of these gangster characters. He says, "You're messing with the food on my table, all right? But then you tell me this is business, is not personal. But you're messing with the food on my table. What could be more personal than that?"
well, the
Magic
thing,
Man knows what I'm talking about.
the thing is that the way boxing is, they don't conduct business in that fashion.
No, I'm not saying that they're gangsters. I'm saying
No. Meaning, it's not personal. It's business. And you have to conduct business in a certain way. Yeah, you can call them out and all that stuff. You can sell the fight and all that. But at the back end, we don't, these people on behalf of you are negotiating. If you're gonna be your own boss, then be a boss, be a businessman, not a dude yelling out, let's do this, let's do that, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And it's not like that. Because at the end of the day, Fury no se gobierna ahora. You know what I'm saying? Now he doesn't he's not speaking for himself. He
he
has
signed over. He did
he's
when he signed
Yeah,
that
but he
contract.
did
He
his yeah he
signed
did the
over the
choice.
rights
Yeah,
to elect. Right, he
yeah,
elected this choice. So
yeah.
he
you know,
elected giving up those speaking rights. He
right,
elected to give those
right.
up.
He chose that for the
Because
money
the
because he
money,
saw the
because
money story.
exactly, because of because of business.
But
However,
he could have been straight up with Wilder. He could have gave a
He
phone
could
call to
have,
Wilder.
he
I
could,
mean,
he
you
could
don't
have.
have to, but he could say, you know what? I'm gonna give him a phone call. I'm gonna tell him what's up, whether he likes it or not. This is what it is, and maybe Wilder would have had more respect.
it may have been a different. That's a really great point, Magic Man. It may have been a different level of respect, right there. Just showing face, like, look, I'm not happy about it, but this is I signed over my decisions, my rights, and they don't want to go this way. They want to wait, and I'm telling you, man to man, because it was you and I in the ring, and I'm telling you, man to man, this is what's going down, and I hope I see you down the road.
Yeah,
And
but that
whatever, and it is what it is,
and
and
it
it is
didn't,
what it is.
but it didn't go that way.
Right, and so
Yeah.
as a result,
No, but see,
again,
you see how Harlem
I
Jones
have to
handles
I
it.
have
He
to
does
take
the
it.
choice.
I have to take.
You can't just sign. You first say this is what I'm going to do because you never know what the man on the other end of the line might have planned for you. You know what I'm saying? They might be something else. You're gonna call the guy after the fact. That's kind of. I'm saying call him right before and be like, listen, this is where I'm headed, and this is why. And while they might respect it or might say, hey, I got something else for us. How about this? And you never know. You know what I mean?
Or
But
at the
just
very
in
least,
yeah, and there could have been more respect there, but he just pulled an okey doke, and that's what pisses people off. That's what it
Tyson
is. So,
Fury certainly has left a lot of people, left a bad taste in a lot of people's um, um, mouth because of what he did. He was
yeah, he
talking all
did.
this talk, and now he straight up sort of, you know, it's the fans because the fans want this fight. The
No,
fans want the Wilder and Fury, the
yeah,
Joshua fight, but they want this fight because of how good the first one is. And Tyson Fury made a lot of fans that day.
a lot.
Tyson
And with
Fury
his
made
cause and his charity, he did a lot. He did a lot. And then to
he did
just
a lot,
turn
but
around
now
and sell
exactly
it,
because he
right?
sold. Did he sell out? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he sold out. He sold out because there's more money. I understand, but maybe there could have been another negotiation, another way of going. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there may
something
have
to
been,
discuss.
at the end of the day, it may have been a different level of respect if he had just at least shown face for it. But whatever, it is what it is. All right, so next up, I want to talk about DeGale's retirement. What'd you guys think? P, what'd you think about it?
It certainly proves to us, and I think we had a conversation about it, and there was a lot of rumblings about the Gales partying and stuff. Like he sounds like a man, or he sounded like a man that boxing was a part-time job, was a hobby, and and by him retiring at the ripe old age of 33 shows where his priorities are.
Yeah, he basically, the boxing at this point, at this level, requires more time to the sport than he can give because he has another alternative lifestyle that kind of competes
Make it sound,
competes
y'all
with
make it
this
sound
one. I'm not
crazy.
saying anything else. I'm leaving it there. I just heard
All
rumors. I've
right.
been reading articles. Yeah, there's a lifestyle that's taking more time than the training, and if he can't dedicate that time, he should definitely bow out and not become a human punching bag. But another case is maybe mentally he's not there anymore. Maybe he don't want the sport. Maybe he don't want to be. There can be. Maybe that's it. He's reached his limit. Like I'm tired. He can be tired of the sport. Maybe there can be a lot of things there. But I just know that he's not the man that he used to be. I saw that fight, that last fight. Just it was awful. It was a disaster. So if he's calling it quits, much respect because he's respecting himself and he's coming to grips. Hey, this is my end. I can't do this anymore, and I have to respect that. You know what I mean? It's going to be disappointing, but I have to respect it.
Yeah,
What?
I'd rather him do that than continue to give me shitty performances when
Of
I know
course.
he doesn't have shitty skills. Like he has the ability, or is what I should say. Yeah, he doesn't have shitty abilities. Okay, he has the ability to really perform. He's a high performer, and he's executing all wrong. He's got his corner yelling at him. Okay, that's not the kind of thing that should be happening. You should
That
that on
that
fight night, your
reminds me.
corner should not be yelling at you, talking about, "Hey, listen, you're not doing what you need to be doing. You're gonna lose this thing." Like that's the last conversation should be happening
Well,
in your
if
corner on fight night. That should
if
have
you look,
happened like in the
uh,
first week of training camp.
listen. Did you remember in the past when there was a time when Mike Tyson no longer wanted to fight, and the corner used to yell at him, and he used to go into the ring, and he didn't even want to hurt the guy anymore, and eventually he even folded. Yo, I don't want to do this anymore. That's the same type of spirit I see in the gal. It's like he's just not there anymore. And it is, and it's disappointing, but I believe that he's just done with the sport. But it's just, he wants to do something else. That's the way I see it. I don't know. I might be wrong. He reminded me of the old that when Mike Tyson was already on his last, like he didn't want to fight anymore. That's my take on it.
Well, yeah, if he's not gonna do it, if he's not gonna do what it takes to win, then yeah, then kudos to
Yeah,
him. Kudos to him, and good luck to him in his next endeavors. I'm sure
maybe he'll
he'll
be an
find his way.
instructor. Maybe he'll do something else. Maybe behind the scenes,
Yeah,
whatever.
whatever. May he find whatever it is that he is passionate
Listen,
about.
I'm still disappointed that Bradley is retired. I thought Bradley was one of the complete fight. I was looking for more fights from Bradley, and all of a sudden Bradley said,
Who
"Oh,
you
I'm
talking
done."
about?
Remember
Tim Bradley.
Tim Bradley, right? That now is an
Man,
announcer.
please.
He's a good announcer, by the way. But
Man,
listen, yeah,
he's all right. He's all
he's all
right. He
right.
ain't all that.
I think he was a decent fighter. I think he had more
He ain't all
tank,
that.
more fuel
He
in the
had
tank.
Pete, he hung in there. He hung in there, and he hung in there tough
He
with
was a
Manny
good
Pacquiao.
fighter.
Oh yeah.
He was. That's not nothing. That's not something. From my opinion, that's
Yeah,
not
maybe not the
something to
cup of
scoff
tea,
at.
but he was good. He was good.
Yeah, definitely wasn't my cup of tea.
But he
Wasn't even
All
my
retired. He
cup
right,
of
retired
all
water.
too
right.
early. He
Fair
retired
enough.
very early. That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough. Well, he was in a lot of wars too, so and that was one of his
Oh
major motivators.
yeah,
But
yeah.
okay, so moving on, let's talk about how after Ortiz defeats Hammer, he says he's ready for Wilder or Joshua, but given the current landscape, the possibility of him fighting maybe Fury is a lot more probable. What do you guys think about that? Pete, what do you think?
I think Tyson Fury has to be very mindful of who he chooses to fight next. It can't He can't go out to prove that he's a star by fighting just anybody. He has to fight threats. He has to get in there with challenges. He cannot fight bum fights. He gotta fight. He gotta show his skill, but against another skilled fighter. The one that's available right now is Luis Ortiz. I don't see anyone else to fill that void that Tyson Fury and his handlers need in order to pull as much money that they can from Tyson Fury, because that's all he is. He is someone that can get me money. We want this guy. Let's sign him because he can get us some money, because he's popular, because he can sell a fight. That's another reason why they wanted to sign him, because he can sell a fight. He can sell it, but he has to have a dancing partner. But it can't be just anybody. It has to be somebody that raises the stakes, that gets people interested, and Luis Ortiz is that guy.
It'll be a super fight, but I believe it'll be uh, um, it could be a bad decision for Ortiz, and I'll tell you why. Ortiz is 6'3". Okay, Ortiz was shorter than Wilder and did his thing. Uh, but now we're dealing with almost 7 foot tall dude, and the length reach of it. He's setting himself up to definitely, if he wants to fight Wilder or Joshua, he takes on Tyson. Tyson's not gonna let Ortiz get in there like that. He's gonna keep him at distance, and Ortiz will probably lose the fight and then lose a chance for a major
That's
for the major title.
okay.
But that's okay.
Though.
It'll
That's
bring
okay.
it'll bring the excitement for Fury. It'll solidify Fury. Yes, it'll be a good move, but it'll be bad for Ortiz. Well, he'll make some money, but he won't have that Wilder or Joshua, because let's be real, man. He's fighting a guy that's very tall with long length and can move just like him. So
Yeah, but so let me ask you this: who does Tyson Fury fight then, if it's not Luis Ortiz?
man, I had him to fight Miller, but that's already taken over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's really not that many competition out there. It's really
Exactly.
bleak. It's bleak out there. Yeah, it's really. I'm trying to look at names, but I'm looking. I just can't really find it.
You can count on one page, not even
Yeah,
index card of how many
yeah,
heavyweights available.
good skilled
Who you gonna put him?
heavyweights.
Who you gonna put him in there? Joe Joyce. They already said that
Oh, hell no.
they can't
No,
handle Luis Ortiz. Who knows? Who
no.
knows? Maybe they see something like, yo, this guy's old. I think he's ready. Vamos a ver, pero.
I don't know. He's the only old guy that people keep running away from. He's the only old
That's
guy in
well
the
put.
industry that
Well
people
put.
still run away from. They don't
Literally,
want to fight
literally. I
him.
told
They
you that
don't.
6th round, you guys get a chance to see that 6th round of that fight with Hammer, and you could see Hammer walking away. Like he was looking for the exit.
But I mean that is the option I think Tyson Fury should um, make a date for.
I think that would be a hell of a fight. I like that I like that he's a southpaw. I like that he hits as hard as he does. I like that I like that Fury is actually an excellent boxer and knows how to box well from the outside. He would need to keep this quote unquote shorter man at a distance to avoid those heavy blows. But again, at that weight, at that size, it doesn't take much to close the distance and then hammer to the body. The body doesn't go anywhere. And we all know the adage, hammer the body and the head will die. So
Yeah, I'm gonna get you
what
an
that might
action.
look,
I'm gonna get you
could Tyson Fury really manage that against a powerful a powerful Ortiz. Maybe considering the age playing a factor as well.
Listen,
A lot of factors. There's a lot of
It's a
different
good fight.
factors we don't
It's a
know.
good
It's
all
a
fight.
good
It's a
Tyson
fight.
good fight. It's a
all
good fight.
Tyson has to do is lean on him when he comes in and throw all his mass on top of him. He'll wear him down eventually, man. That's how he did it with Wilder. He'll do it then.
Well,
I actually think that Ortiz is heavier than Tyson
yeah,
Fury is.
yeah, I think he is. He may
Oh,
be.
yeah, at this point, yeah, because Tyson has
But it's
lost
a
so
good.
much weight.
But
It's
it
a
is a
good
good
fight.
fight.
It's
It's
a
a good
good
fight.
fight. It's a
It'd
good
be
fight.
interesting to see.
It's a good fight.
It'll be a good fight. I think it might get done. Watch it get done. Watch it get done.
I'm
I
hoping
hope
it
so.
does.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hope
I
so.
got my
I would
crystal
definitely see
ball in
that.
my house. I'm gonna make it happen. Okay, don't worry
Got your
about
Swami hat on.
it. I got it.
All right.
You got your Papa Shango hat.
I
Papa
got it.
Shango.
And the action figure that looks just like Ortiz. I'm gonna make it happen. It's gonna happen, guys. Don't worry. I'm working on it.
You're gonna make some phone calls again.
It makes
All right, I
always,
dig it.
always. You
All right,
should.
moving on, guys. What do you think about the Max Kellerman, Max on Boxing, when he talks about how the business of boxing is actually hurting the sport and the fights that people want to see are not getting done because of these controlling interests basically taking over and managing their short-term interests as opposed to the long-term interest, which is giving the people the fights that they want to see. What do you guys think about that? P, you had an interesting perspective. What do you think?
Well, no, I'm interested in hear Magic Man's perspective on it.
Guys, it's no brainer that 2019, who rules the economy? Who rules the world? Corporations. So why doesn't can't that translate over to sports? It's the same ordeal. Well, we got these 3 or 4 corporations. They play the field, they move the chess pawns, and we have to suck it up. And that's just the way it. Look, Tyson and Fury, perfect example. I mean, Wilder and Fury, perfect example. Part 2, where everybody was waiting for part 2, they had us, salivating, and then out of nowhere they pulled the rug on. And that's just corporation, and we got to suck it up. The same thing that's happening in the economy will translate to sports. Why is that any surprise? Either we make a stand or we just suck it up and we just, keep paying for these outrageous pay-per-views and whatnot.
Well, the stand would be the taking a stand would be fight fans not showing up for these fights, so not paying the pay-per-view numbers.
No
It
bum
shows.
fights.
Yeah, it shows in that respect. And I can see, I'm upset. You're upset. Everyone's upset that fight is not going to happen right now. We may be feeling upset over that fight not happening, but think about it this way. You have Joshua fighting Miller. Is that a bad fight? Yes or no? Okay.
No.
Magic Man?
No.
That's a good fight. That's a good fight I want to see. I want to see Joshua fight Miller. They're selling the fight, and he's fighting here in the States. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Tyson Fury, we don't know who he's fighting. He needs to fight somebody like Luis Ortiz. He can't fight just anybody. I mean, there's Dillian White. There are some others, but Luis Ortiz is probably the more intriguing one because he's been on TV a lot more here in the States.
But will Ortiz take the fight?
Of
Maybe
course,
Ortiz won't take the fight. You never know.
He'll take the fight. Dude is 51, yo. He's gonna take the fight.
Time's ticking.
Okay.
Time's ticking.
Wilder Brazil. Is that a fight that people are looking to see?
Fight.
No, but I'll tell you this, and this is my perspective in regards to Wilder. Anybody that Wilder fights, it's a possibility of him losing if that fighter, because whoever he fights is their chance. Any fighter that Wilder fights is a possibility for Wilder to lose. The reason why I say that is because any opponent that he chooses looks at this as an opportunity, and already the way to beat Wilder is to outbox him and land a good one and take him out. if someone comes in there with that confidence of being able to do that, Wilder will lose, and that is an intriguing thought. Or um, with Wilder and Miller and Tyson and Luis Ortiz, those are good fights. That the possibility of them losing is there, yes, but the possibility of them winning is much higher. The possibility of Wilder losing is always high for me.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Pete. You're saying if that most of Wilder's fights, he's basically getting outboxed until the equalizer comes in.
He's just
Yeah,
not been
yeah,
in
we're
there
here.
with opponents that pose that much of a threat. The only one that really posed a lot of threat was Luis Ortiz and Bermain Stavern, and those guys can fight. Or Bermain used to be able to fight, and Luis Ortiz still is able to fight. Other than that, I haven't seen anybody Wilder that's fought that's of note. We only go see Wilder go wild out, pretty much. Let me make this last point. My last point is that although we're not getting the fights that we want right now, we are being presented with a menu of other fights that are decent fights. We're still waiting on the verdict for Tyson for Tyson Fury. Hopefully he chooses Luis Ortiz. And if that fight happens, we're still gonna get some good heavyweight fights, ultimately leading up to the fights that we want to see. So there is, in all of these fights, there are risks involved, and we are all gonna be tuning in.
So
I gotta
basically,
agree.
you are for the corporations, and you're fine with it.
I'm not.
Yeah, because yeah. Listen,
Had the fights happen, I would have been ecstatic.
no,
But I'm getting these other fights that build that intrigue still.
There are fights that you're right. The underdog comes out of nowhere and it could happen, and that's great.
That's exciting. That's historic.
But that's basically what the corporations are giving us. They're gonna wet your beak on one thing, but then they're gonna take the rug right under you, give you something else, and you're gonna say, hey, you know what? That's not a bad mix either. And you're still gonna fall for it, and you're still gonna give the profits. So that basically it works. It works, and unfortunately, at this point, we just got to get used to it and not put our expectations too high. Just ride the wave.
That became dystopian real quick.
Take it much easier that way.
I think after this round of fights that happen, we're gonna get the fights that we deserve. If we don't, then that's a problem. That is a huge problem if they don't make these fights happen. I think that the next fight after this round goes through with Joshua Miller, Wilder, and Brazil, or Tyson Fury fights, we're gonna get the Wilder Joshua fight. I'm quite certain of it. I'm quite certain of it.
Not if Wilder freezes him, doesn't.
Let's hope you're right. Yeah, let's hope you're right. That's all I have to say about it. Fight fans, that's our show. Thank you for listening. We want to hear from you. Tell us what fights you're excited about and why. Join our discussion on social media. Fight Bouts is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, SoundCloud, and YouTube.